G'day, I'm Warwick Schiller here for Weaver Leather. Welcome back to another episode of Reconnecting with Your Horse during the coronavirus. So last year I was contacted by the wife of the British ambassador to Morocco to go to Morocco to work with some horses there that fall under the umbrella of a government agency called the Royal Society for the Encouragement of Horses. And when I get there, they turn out to be all stallions. They're Barb stallions. So the Barb breed is a 3,000-year-old breed from that whole Iberian Peninsula right there. And all of these stallions were just a little bit pushy and a little bit, you know, like they kind of tended to drag the handlers around a little bit and push into them, and they're a little nippy. And so I elected, they had a round pen that they wanted to do some work with them in there, so I elected to turn all those horses loose, one at a time, turn them loose because I wanted them to be as far away from me as possible just based on their behaviour. And the thing I did with them was just work on getting their attention. Just work on having them take their focus on whatever it was on and put it onto me and letting them know that I saw when their focus changed. And I was just trying to stay safe, really, but an amazing thing happened. Was those Barb stallions that were running around screaming and carrying on, they all basically came over and connected with me. They said, "Hey, how's it going?" Whereas when they were on a halter and lead rope and the handler was handling them, they were really pushy and disconnected, and it was just a profound change with them. One of them that was, you know, dragging the guy around with him when he had a halter and lead rope on, by the end of the session, I could walk around and he would follow me like I had a halter and lead rope on him, and he could stop. He'd stop when I stopped, and I actually pretended to tie him up to a post with a invisible lead rope and step back, and it was, he just, you know, it was just a complete change in them. And so that kind of gave me a bit of an idea about some things to work on to help with the relationship with your horse. And so I was at a clinic in Australia in January this year, and there was a girl there had this Palomino horse, came in one day, and she had a halter and a lead rope, and she also had a flag. And this horse, all he was trying to do was pull away from us, just get the heck away from us on this halter and lead rope. He was almost uncontrollable. I actually had to back up against the fence, because otherwise he didn't want to run in circles. I backed up against the fence so he could kind of do half circles. And if you tried to get his attention with the flag at all, he blocked it out and thought even further away from us, like was really blocking us out. And so that was the first day, and I really couldn't do much with him the first day. And so what I did with him the second day when he came in, there was 3 horses in the arena, 2 of them were ridden. This one, I turned him loose, and this is the exercise I'm going to help you with, and I call it creating connection through a change in focus. So what I did with him was turned him loose, and he went down to the end of the arena, let's say this is the end of the arena, and hung his head out over the gate looking. It was a fully enclosed arena with an open gateway, so he was looking out there. And all I did was I just wandered around with the flag like this, really casual. And if he flicked an ear towards me, I would stop and turn away. Basically, I was attracting his attention. I wasn't demanding his attention, because this horse, if you demand with the flag, he just like not interested. So I attracted his attention, and then I turned away to let him know that I noticed that change in his focus, and something profound happened. After a while, he started coming over to me and hanging out with me. After a while, I could walk off and he would follow me and just walk along. If I walked, he'd walk. If I stopped, he stopped. Then I had his owner do it, and he was the same way. Whereas when we had the halter on him, he wasn't interested in being anywhere near us. So it was a reconnecting. And then I think it was the third day, it was amazing. I actually got to where, and I've got some footage of it here, it's not very good footage, but you'll get the idea. I got him to where I could actually ask him to go around me, and if he went to leave, all I would do was take the flag over in front of his eye, and because he would connect with that flag, he would look at that flag, I could draw him back in. And so I basically had this horse doing liberty circles in a huge big arena with 2 other horses riding around. And this was on day 3, and the only thing I did was attract his attention. That's the first thing. I attracted his attention, and then I let him know I saw when his focus changed. That was the whole thing. And what I've come to realize here lately working with horses is I used to drive horses with the flag. I'd move their front end over, I'd move their hind end over, I'd move their front end over and move their hind end over. And somewhere in the past few years, I've kind of changed what I was doing, and I didn't even realize exactly what I was doing till recently. What I've realized I've done is I've got the flag to where the flag draws their thoughts. The flag draws their focus. And where I really understood this last year was I was working with a filly. She's a yearling. I'd done all the stuff with her as a foal with her mother, and she was a pretty interesting sort of a horse. She could be quite reactive to things. She could pin her ears, she could get mad easily, all sorts of things like that. And the first day I actually went to do anything with her on the groundwork, as far as asking her to go around me, not just basic leading and things like that, but asking her to go off around me, she was perfect at it, had the perfect bend in her body. And so the next day I went back to video, and I asked, my son Tyler was videoing on the camera. I said, before I catch her, just let me try something here. And so I asked her to go off around me, and she did a perfect circle around me. And I realized what was happening when she did that was I was moving her away from me with the flag, which was moving her body over, but the flag draws her thoughts. And what I've realized is a lot of the crookedness we experience with horses is when their thoughts are away from what we're asking them to do, like under saddle or on the ground. We're trying to get them to go around us, and their heads to the outside, their shoulders drop the inside because their thoughts are to the outside. And so what I realized I've been doing is creating a tool to where whenever I use this thing, they think towards it, okay? And then I can actually get them to move away from it, but they think towards it. And it's been really quite profound. So that the exercise I want you to do here, I'm going to explain in detail here how to do this because there's a bit to it, is I just want you to turn your horse loose in a big area, or if they're out in a pasture is good. And just take your flag or whatever you got, I particularly like to use the flag, just wander around with it. Just wander on an angle, you know, if they're down one end of the arena, just wander along on an angle. Just wave your flag a bit. If they don't flick an ear towards you or turn their head and look at you, whichever. If the ears are really pricked to the outside, you just want an ear flick. But if those horses' ears are kind of going already, you want to get them to turn their head and look at you. Just change directions, go in a different angle, try different things like that. And if they turn and look at you, just turn and step away, and just pause there for maybe 30 seconds or so. And what you will tend to find is, after a while, their attention doesn't leave you. And after a while, their attention will tend to stay on you a little bit. And then it might go off you again, but after a while, you'll find is not only will their attention come on you, but their feet will go where their attention is, okay? Their attention's on you, and they'll come over to you and engage with you. And it's the simplest exercise to do, but it's really hard to do because as humans, we have expectations. And so, you know, I did this at a clinic in Arizona here a little while ago, and there was a horse, once again, on the ground. This lady, she was waving her flag like this, and this horse was just like, just leave me alone, would you? And so I did this exercise. I turned him loose and did this exercise, and after a while, he came over here, was hanging out with me, wasn't trying to leave me with nothing on his head. I could walk around, he would follow me around both directions. And so then I said to his owner, okay, so now I'm going to have you go ahead and do it. And within probably 15 minutes of her taking over the flag again, he wouldn't even look at her. And this is not picking on her at all, because this is hard to do, because what happened was, she started out with him right there with her, and when he went to leave, she wanted to demand him to come back, and that's not how it works at all. You are not actually asking for anything, okay? There is no ask involved in this. If they don't pay attention, you just want to be a little more curious acting with your flag. You know, you might run it along the fence. Go, I don't know what you're going to do, but the thing you cannot do with this to reconnect with these horses is to ask for it. Okay, these horses have had enough of our asking. That's why they're disconnected. So, you know, you want to, big thing is you're just trying to curiously attract their attention. It's not an ask. It's got to be, you've got to be kind of curious to do it. And when you get their attention, just turn away. I've found it's profound. but you've got to have no expectations. So like I said, most horses will get to where they'll follow you around, and I had that one in Australia after 3 days, we could do like Liberty circles there. But you've got to block that out. You've got to block that expectation out of your mind. You've just got to say, I am just going to see if I can get this horse's attention without asking for it. And so that's the hard thing. But you know, we've got plenty of time. We're not going anywhere anytime soon. So try and work on that. This is probably not the best idea if you've got a horse who wants to come up and nibble on you and stuff. I can give you some things to do with one like that maybe in the next session, but this is more for your standoffish horse, hard to catch horse, anxious horse, horse that wants to run away from you, horse that's very distracted by their surroundings, all those sorts of things. Great ideas for those horses. But go ahead and try that, and then I'll probably hear some feedback on this, and what I might do is the next video I make is some feedback on how to solve some of the issues that pop up when you're trying this exercise.